this, once you make the decision, the universe will help you in every way.
Hey everyone, this is Megan and Steve with Hustling for Excellence. Welcome to our channel. Before we kick it off here, if you're new to the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe and click the bell to be notified when we post more content. So today we have a very special guest with us today. This is Anthony Rivera. A little bit of background here. He is a grad from UConn in mechanical engineering. And he's also an Air Force vet. So, Anthony, thank you for your service. We are big supporters of the military here, as you know.
Indeed.
But Anthony's also an aspiring entrepreneur.
Yes. So we met Anthony through a mastermind because, as you know, a lot of entrepreneurs love the mastermind, right? We're problem solvers, and we kind of like to do, take care of business. So have fun doing it, though, of course.
Absolutely.
But so anyway, we met Anthony at an event, and we had some extremely stimulating conversation. I mean, this guy is just a wealth of knowledge, right? So Anthony, that's why we really wanted to talk to you today, because we find it interesting, as aspiring entrepreneurs ourselves and transitioning from that traditional mindset to the entrepreneurial mindset. It takes a lot of work, right? It takes a lot of focus and taking that mindset work and reading books and podcasts and listening to podcasts. And so I'm just kind of looking for some tips and tricks. And what are you doing in your life to, kind of get there, we'll say, right, as you just transition?
Yeah. So thank you for the very kind introduction. I'm honored to be here. So I guess to dive in, some of the tips and tricks, I mean, the main thing is hard work. It's a lot of time dedication to things, but just really reading and being surrounded by it. So when you're, for example, when I drive, I'll listen to like audiobooks, just to kind of fill the space, or, developing a reading habit, or working on my self-image, through meditation, or surrounding myself with people who are like-minded or encouraging. And so for me, I tend to have like somewhat of a mental fortitude for certain things, because I started reading things when I was younger. And so I recognize, all right, that's more of like, it's a natural like view, but more of like an employee mindset versus like an entrepreneurial mindset. And trying to discern that kind of gets easier over time, but can be tricky sometimes because your fears may side with something that might not be entrepreneurial. So
well, I think so many of us grew up being indoctrinated into that employee mindset. So how did you break out of that?
It took a long time, actually, because so for me, like the enticing part of the employee mindset and going down that route is the security.
Yeah, so that's so true, right? It's like everyone I've
kind of grabs a hold of you and won't let go.
I forget who said it. Some you probably would know the author, but I think he said the most addictive thing is a paycheck, and I kind of feel that way, right? It's so hard.
I forgot who said it, actually, but I'm familiar with the quote.
Right.
Yeah, it is, because that's actually my struggle right now. So I'm actually just graduating from UConn, in a mechanical engineering degree. It's kind of expected you go down like a mechanical engineering path, right?
Right.
And so I'm kind of in the process of that. I got an offer for an engineering job. Then I have another offer for like a recruiting job, which kind of offers the best of both worlds. It's kind of like sales. And then I'm also looking to do agency business. So that's kind of where I'm starting. And, I was wrestling with, do I take the job and, do the agency business on the side? Do I save the agency for later? Like, do I not take the job? All these questions. And kind of what I came to is, for me, at this point in my life, I've read enough to know the principles, but now the question is, do I live out these principles?
Right.
Right.
That's so
And
great.
I'm finding that to be the hardest part, actually, which obviously makes sense because it's the experience. And so, what, like, the bigger thing for me has been, yeah, there's job security, the paycheck, right?
Right.
Versus doing your own business where you don't have that secure paycheck. Um, which, like, it kind of makes more sense to, get the job, get the paycheck, have those funds, pay for, your business and things like that. But for me, the hardest part to give up is the time. Because, there's a lot of time that gets dedicated to a business, and before it even starts to get traction. And so, and if I take the job, I'll be putting all my energy and focus in this job for 8 hours, 12 hours, however many hours it calls for, and then try to transition to doing a business that takes effort as well and energy. And so, it's a challenge, and it's definitely doable. Plenty of people have done it.
Right.
So, it's just in my predicament, I have a grace period where it allows for me to take advantage of that opportunity to kind of devote a lot of time to it. So I'll say that as a disclaimer, because I'm not by any means trying to tell anybody to, like, give up what you're doing and put all your time, because, like, there is the reality of having funds, but it's a harder barrier when you have to go to work and then you have to transition your hat to entrepreneur, and building your business and all that stuff. And I give credit to anyone and everyone who's doing it, because that's hard. And so it does take discipline for that. It takes motivation, and there's a lot of sweat on that. So yeah, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
I will say, the two of us both being in that situation where we still have our, our day jobs,
Mhm.
the struggle really becomes, time, obviously, but just switching your mindset
Yep.
from, during the day, that employee mindset to, okay, now I'm putting on my entrepreneur hat and I've got to think differently. And that, I think
Right.
people don't realize how difficult it can be to really just switch your mindset like that and get into a different mode.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's, I mean, it's hard to, I know they say you got to leave work at work, but a lot of that residual comes in for the next half hour, 45 minutes,
Yeah.
an hour. And then if you have, a family and kids or whatever your situation might be, there's,
Exactly.
everybody's kind of, jockeying for your time, so to say. So I agree with you. I mean, I think one thing you said early on here, when you mentioned how you do kind of overcome some of that, is reading. And, for us, we try to, like, do audiobooks now. I mean, as much as we love to sit down and read a book, we find that audiobooks was something that kind of helped us. So at the gym, you can listen to a book for a half hour, 45 minutes, or listen to a podcast or a great interview with Anthony Rivera, right? It's those type of things, help the time. It's like, obviously there's only 24 hours in a day, but where could I squeeze in a little bit more? So yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it is a struggle, and I mean, there are people that do it. I mean, we're all doing it. It's
Yeah.
so yeah.
And something else that I'm finding, at least for myself, is that the faith part, like believing and taking action on that belief, it can also be a challenge, because you're betting on something that's not tangible, but that in principle, based off people who've done it in the past, and even people that we know
Right.
that have actually done it. And it's almost as if, and I've heard it said this way, where it's like, it says this: once you make the decision, the universe will help you in every way. And so, actually believing that, and believing that it can happen for you, like for yourself, can be a challenge to overcome, but it's necessary, I believe, in this
Yeah,
realm.
I would absolutely agree. I mean, that's one of those almost self-talk limiting beliefs, right? Like, you have to, no one's going to believe in yourself more than you do, is the way we kind of look at it. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I agree with you. That seems to be very common with people. They'll have no, we always used to say too, like when it comes to work, we'll do everything. We never
Mhm.
late, never miss an hour. But when it kind of yourself, you're like, oh, it's
You let
okay. I can
yourself slide
I
a
can
little
skip
bit.
that, that blog post I was supposed to write, or I can push that interview off. But we've had to change our mindset as well and realize, hey, what we want out of this is that time freedom, location freedom. So, put in
Yep.
that work now. Worry about us a little bit as far as, hey,
Yep.
don't put that off. Make sure we have time to
Right.
do those things. So yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. But
What have you found is effective for yourself when you start finding yourself like, with self-doubt and can I do this? How do you get yourself back into the belief that yes, you can?
Um, Most times I just don't focus on, like, I kind of acknowledge that I thought that, but it's like, all right, well, we'll find out, like, and just keep getting to the task at hand. Because the truth of whether, something in my opinion, is more in the result, right? So if I'm doubting whether I can do this, well, if I give it all I got, put nothing, like leave nothing on the table, whatever that result is, then it'll give a hint as to where I'm at, at least where I'm at, at that time. So I try to just ignore or not even ignore, but I guess say affirmations in my head, like, that's a lie. We don't know. I don't know. Or I've heard other people, that's the other thing. I trust on what other people say. And so when I hear those that are close to me tell me things that are opposing my limiting beliefs, then I'll trust in that, and lean on that. But for the most part, I just try to just talk it out. Like, if it's true, trying to find, like, if it's a false truth where it seems true but it's really not, and then kind of assess it from there. There's a bunch of things I do, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, everybody has their process of how they kind of work through it. I mean,
Yeah.
I like what you said there about trusting folks, and sometimes we value those opinions more than others, and
Mhm.
I kind of found that.
But
Go ahead.
it's trusting the ones that have gone through the path, like
Oh,
have produced those, like, results.
right.
What, it doesn't have to be the same mechanism, but it has to be at least that they're an entrepreneur, right? And they are the ones that are affirming that. Like, if it's a self-image thing, then those around me, sure. But if it's like on the path of entrepreneurship, I look to the ones who have done it before me and
Gotcha.
what they think about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we obviously run in some of the same circles, for us,
Mhm.
Jeff Lerner, being
Right,
folks that, people we look up to, and kind of what he's
right.
done in his story. I mean, how has he inspired you in this?
I what's interesting about it is I came across his video on YouTube, and I think I was looking for something on engineering, trying to get like trying to understand something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a promotional video, and I normally skip them. As soon as it says skip, I skip. But his was the only one, for some reason, I sat through the whole thing. And at the time, it was my brother and I were listening to the book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And we were thinking about, like, how do we make money online? Like, how do we create wealth for our family, things like that. And so we kind of stumbled on it. Now, from that, like, from the first video, I'm like, everything this guy is saying, I resonate with. Like, from the physical, the three P's, right?
Right.
I mean, I had more stuff. It was kind of more like detailed, but I think his simplification was a lot easier to get across than mine.
Yep.
Um, and so I'm like, okay, I get everything this guy's saying. And I bought in, like, we had conversations, getting into inner circle and coaching. I was asking him about funding and stuff like that. He's like, you just got to know what type of person you are, and go with that. If it's something that's not for you, then it's not, and that's okay. And I don't know, and knowing his story, for me, it was also that he paved the way, where for me, there's no excuse to not partake in what he has to offer, right? But for me, the bigger thing was actually meeting him at Insight at the event. And you can feel, at least I could feel like the intentions that he has, and the like trying to live out excellence and always being in a state of growth. And like, I don't know, for me, feeling that on somebody really was inspiring. And so like from seeing the video to meeting him, like he was someone that I could resonate with, that I understood, not just on the entrepreneurship level, but on the personal level. Not that I know him or his story, but like it resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it caused me, knowing his story and um, knowing what he was teaching, allowed me to have more faith in not only the process, but in him,
Yeah,
really. And then caused that to reflect on me, where I can have more confidence in myself that, yeah, I can do this as well. And so,
that's great. I mean, that's so similar. I mean, just like you said, I think the word resonate is perfect because, you know, we only get to see each other on Zoom or do things like that. But to meet everyone in person again, I mean, I know I felt that way. I was like, man, this is like my long lost brother, right? It's like he's so
yeah,
authentic. He's congruent in his message, like you're saying. I mean, he strives for excellence, you know. I mean, every morning he's at the gym living what he says. And it's just, you know,
right,
or, you know, at the event, you know, being the student, not putting it off. And he was in the trenches with us, so to say, right? I mean,
right,
everything we are
right.
going through. So yeah, I feel that for sure. I mean, that's one of the big things that's kind of, I was just going to ask you, but I figure out this, your support network. How do you feel about the support? I'm, you know, as far as I know, you said someone that paved the path, and that's Jeff. But how do you feel, like, we'll say locally? Do you have a good group of people around you, friends, family, or what's that support network like for you?
Um, it
Speaking
can be
business
tricky.
wise, speaking business
Yeah,
wise,
no,
but
that's what I was thinking, business
yeah,
wise. Yeah. So business wise, it's tricky because I'm not entirely understood. I'm kind of
I think that's a common thread with many
the
entrepreneurs.
yeah.
yeah, I'm the one that's like, you're crazy, or you're like all over the place, or
It's the
I don't know,
crazy
just
ones.
always trying something new, trying something risky. And so I'm not easily understood, and people are supportive even though they don't understand. Like, I have a couple family members that, they're supportive even if they don't get it. One of my brother gets it and he's supportive.
That's great. Yeah.
But yeah, it can be tricky sometimes. 'Cause that's where I have to, like, like Jeff says, like, when you have a goal or a dream or a vision, you have to protect it, right? Because
Yes.
only you
Yes,
see
indeed.
it, you know? And so that's kind of what I feel I have to do sometimes, because like it's all in good intentions in what they share, whether it's like, oh, just get the job, or whatever. Um, like, they're coming from a good place, but it's the place that they know,
Right.
right? And
Like
I'm
through their
treading in
filters, right?
waters that's kind of out of their element a little. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, which, it's natural, it's okay. And so, yeah, I try to more focus on the, like, our group, the inner circle, and the coaching, and uh, what Jeff and Adam have put together, really,
Trust the
for this.
process, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
That's,
trust the process.
it kind
Yeah.
of reminds you, I mean, maybe for me, I'm not sure how it was, you know, when you went through your basic training and all those things, right? That's the same type of, you don't understand, why am I doing this or this? But then, you know, when you actually leave there and you run into an incident where, oh, that's why they had us doing all this crazy stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that process it's proven, you know, so
Right.
that's
Right.
awesome.
And it's just unknown for us. So it's, yeah,
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
still, we're paving that path for ourselves. And that's the tricky part.
Right. And it's crazy because you've already had such great success. Like you're an engineer by trade. That's not an easy thing to get through, right? So
Yeah,
you would think you should be able to transition that right into business, but it is such a
it
different
is.
mindset, right?
It is. It is. I mean, with engineering, there's a lot of critical thinking, and I think that's why I did okay with it, because I was more of a thinker. Um, and then there's also, like, practical applications and things
Mm-hmm.
like that, and trying to understand, you know, systems, processes, materials, and things like that. So there's a lot of analyzing, right? In entrepreneurship, you can't get caught up in analysis paralysis, you know?
Yes, sir.
And so sometimes you just got to take that gut feeling, like, I don't know, I don't have all the answers, but this is what's saying, well, this is what's speaking the loudest. And you kind of have to just go with that sometimes.
Yeah.
And so we can't analyze everything.
Right.
Um,
I
so,
think you mentioned earlier too, right? Like that faith. That when you said faith, it kind of makes me believe,
right,
like, hey, that's what it is. It's a leap, but um,
it is.
I
It
just,
is a
yeah. So it's funny because I as our group grows and you talk to folks who had successful businesses already within our group, the mindset for them is you would think it's already there, right? In the sense of they've been an entrepreneur, but this is still new territory for them a lot of times. The online world, which is still seen sometimes as, oh, what are you doing online? Even
yeah,
though
yeah,
everybody's online these days, it still has like
right,
this connotation sometimes of like, what are you doing in there? So,
right, right.
but
Yeah, and it's interesting because, like, when with some people you speak of, like, uh, entrepreneurship or starting a business, and people are still stuck on brick and mortar.
mm-hmm.
They don't get the digital space yet. And
No,
Which
so,
is so funny
um,
because all the brick and mortars have gone away and pretty much gone online, especially in the past year.
right, right. And so, that's what I've also found kind of interesting, is that I can share with some people about it, and they're still stuck on, like, the brick and mortar. It's about, like, oh, I'm like, for example, I was sharing with someone earlier today that, yeah, I'm doing a digital agency business, and then they're talking about, oh, if you're a business owner, everything's on you. You got to worry about, like, lights and payroll, and, like, everything's a liability. I'm like, yeah, but this is a digital business. Like, I don't have to worry about the lights, if I need to hire somebody and maybe a paycheck, but I mean, I don't have a location,
right.
so.
That's so true. I mean, you're able to do that from anywhere. It's like Megan was saying, I think
Exactly.
this year really proved that even for your traditional jobs. I mean, how many people just work from home all of a sudden, weren't allowed to work from home ever. And then all of a sudden, hey, this is going on. Everybody go home. So we made it work. So I think that
Yeah.
to your point, yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, it probably opened a few people's eyes. That's
Yeah.
so you mentioned digital agency. Where are you at with that? What's going on? What are you looking to do? What kind of clients do you, any kind of specific niche? I know, just kind of curious where you're at with that.
Yeah. So, I made the transition to that a few days ago. And I'm currently in the process of getting things set up, but I think, for now, my clients that I'm looking to work with are, attorneys and, dentist office,
Great.
specifically Invisalign, and maybe LASIK as well.
Okay, great.
Um, so those are the areas that I'm looking to,
Okay.
What attracted you to
service.
those areas?
Um, my thought process was, it would be pretty much, they charge higher. So
Hmm.
by me offering my service for the price that I'm thinking, it would benefit them as well. Like, it's not that they're losing money on that, or
Right.
they're breaking even paying me to do this service, that they're actually making out in the long run. And so I'm just getting a smaller portion, versus if I were to do it for, like, a restaurant, it's kind of like, if I'm charging them, it wouldn't make sense
Right.
for them.
Yeah,
So
that acquisition cost is, it doesn't pay
yeah,
for a restaurant, whereas an Invisalign's probably, I don't know, $6,000
yeah, a year.
process. So I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
hey, they'll pay a little bit more because
yeah, and
you're paying.
that's for one client.
Right,
You
right.
know,
So I mean, heck,
so
long as they can probably pay a lot more. So that's great. And then you said, was it attorneys? Was that
attorneys,
attorneys? Yeah, and
yeah.
obviously we kind of know that's a high price deal as well. So that's
Yeah, I mean, my thought process initially, I always expect that it's like a hot market, right? So it's like you got to fight for
Mhm.
your space in that, and so I'm kind of anticipating that, and then just trying to take it from there.
Right. Okay.
So,
Anything else we can expect from you, Aaron? I know you have a few hobbies and niches. I don't want to spill the beans. I'll let you do some of that.
yeah, sure. So for right now, my main focus is that like I kind of set a goal, a timeline for myself to give myself 3 months. Um, and so, but after that, I'll reevaluate, see, depends where I'm at. But other things on the table that I'm looking to do is copywriting. I'm looking to learn more about that business and try to understand it and provide that as a service as well. Because in the agency, I'll be doing SEOs and or search engine optimizations and pay per clicks, PPCs.
Okay.
And so those would be the main two services that I'll be providing there, and then also learning copywriting, provide that
Yep.
probably as a service as well. And then um, probably later down the road, probably doing some other things as far as affiliate marketing and probably doing something along like a small
Cool.
cooking show kind of thing.
Sounds good. We'll have to keep an eye out for it,
Say cooking show's making me hungry.
Yeah. So sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean the cooking show would be more of the like why things happen in the kitchen, you know. Um, so more like the science of it,
Cool.
molecules
That's
changing or interactions between uh, like molecules with like herbs and spices, or why does why does food turn brown, things like that.
hmm, I like that. That's interesting. That's like that's you can answer a lot of questions the kids have. Why does this apple look like this?
Yeah, maybe I started sooner than I thought.
Why did the thing that mom was cooking burn? Or
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the wrong oil or whatever. Yeah,
let's call up
that's pretty
Anthony.
interesting. That's a different spin on it, right? That's a different thing because we always see the shows that are more about hey the recipe and the food,
Right.
never about the how. I guess you'd say about okay, hey, we throw it in the oven at 325 or 350, but
Mhm.
what's the significance of 325 versus 375? What happens
Yeah,
to the food at that temperature? And so that's
right.
kind of a different spin on it.
Oh
And
man.
I feel like yeah, that's interesting. That is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's a fun one. Like there is one that I know about where it's like the difference in egg temperature, like when you're cooking an egg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
And there's like this short window from like I think it's 62 degrees to like 74 degrees, where like there's a lot of different transitions in the middle that happen that if you're like 2 degrees off changes everything for the egg. It's interesting. It's
yeah,
kind of weird.
that is and that's what I'm saying, right? Because I'm always seeing the shows that's like, oh, I just want to go stuff my face, but I'm like, this is like, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really
That'll be a
cool.
brain workout.
Yeah, that will be, but that's cool.
Yeah.
I always like those science shows where they kind of break down. Was it MythBusters, the one we used to watch back in the day? How they kind of break it down and put the science
Yeah.
behind everything. You're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I'm glad to hear you got a lot going on then.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll be seeing a lot from Anthony here, I'm sure, in the next few months as well. So, well, cool. Going to give you the floor here as we kind of wrap it up. Where can we get in touch with you? I mean, people want to know more about everything you got going on as far as your agency or maybe your YouTube
Yeah.
channel, social media. What do you have? Let them know,
Yeah.
and we'll make sure we put everything in the description
So,
below. So,
so Rivera Insight is what I'm branding right now. So RiveraInsight.com. Same for the YouTube channel, Facebook. And so those are the best ways. And um, I'll even shoot out my personal email in the link for you guys, just in case someone needs to get a hold of me. But yeah, Rivera Insight, that's where you'll find anything on that.
Okay.
So
Sounds good. Megs, did you have any last minute?
No, guys, just watch for Anthony. He's got some amazing insight, which is why we couldn't wait to interview him. His mind just boggles me sometimes. It's amazing listening to just listen to him talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So your brand is perfect, right? Rivera Insights, because
yeah,
when we had first met, never met you before besides some Zooms. I was like, the conversations we had were so deep. I loved it. So we'll have to, look forward to kind of getting together again. But yeah, appreciate you, coming on to the channel and sharing your wisdom and telling us what you're doing. And so
I'll be glad to do it again anytime. Just let me
perfect.
know if you want to talk about another topic. Feel free.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Well, I'll let you take it home, Megs.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us today. Again, remember to like and subscribe and continue to hustle for your excellence.
Okay.